Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights. I am your host, Dear James, and I am joined by my incredibly amazing co-host, the Lady Jaclyn. And together we bring you intuitive insights and human design wisdom and guidance based on the current energies. We take your questions live throughout the broadcast to answer your life questions and what's happening from an intuitive and from a human design aspect. And as we always say at the top of the hour, as you're joining us, please give us a shout out in the comments and everything. Tell us that you're here, where you're joining us from. And of course, again, if you have a question, comment, place them in the comment sections and everything, and we will address them throughout the broadcast. Oh, the Lady Jaclyn, is there some big, quote unquote, epic energies going down?
I had a little giggle because you were like, you started me off with, there's a lot happening. And then I joked with James earlier, guys, and I was like, yeah, no, I can feel it. You don't have to tell me, thanks. So I'd love to know if you guys are feeling it as well at the moment, because there is we're having 2 full moons in 1 month. I actually didn't even realize that, which is really, really big. And there's this conjunction with Jupiter, and I think it's Neptune.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's so interesting because as much as there's big energy, it's also positive. Like you kind of have to look through, what your mind wants to do. And I'm going to kind of touch on that eventually. But it's like you got to look through the mist of maybe past patterns or conditioning or whatever.
Yes.
And you got to notice and see the good, because there is actually a lot of good that's happening.
And that's incredible. It's so on point. And, when the Lady Jaclyn and I say that we don't talk, so we're talking about like a minute or two before the show. Yeah. So this was something because we always tell everyone, we do not pre-plan the shows. We do not sit and, come together ahead of time or talk. We just do it quickly in the moment or something. And so it's like, it's a 1 or 2 minute thing. So it's amazing when, now I just got lost on what I was going to say, but no. There we are.
I'm point. Yeah,
I'm back. It is positive. And that's a big piece of the message, is all of this is always positive. It's like looking through the looking glass. You have to, as you just said, Jaclyn, you have to get through the veil, the mist, or the perception, the judgment, whatever it might be, to truly see the purity, the divinity. And again, we often talk, right? We often talk about how some of these issues that we're all dealing with and the life things happening in our world are incredibly painful. The process can be painful, and yet the outcome, the root of it, the outcome of it is positive. And that's a big piece of today's energy for everyone. So it's quite extraordinary.
Absolutely. No, I can feel it. A lot of shifts, a lot of change. It's almost like I want to say, look beyond. It's like that phrase, immediately I heard it. It's like, look beyond the current, like the physical reality, and kind of know and understand as well that sometimes, and this kind of ties into the last conversation that we had, is sometimes you can't see while you're going through it, or you can't see ahead of you, and everything makes sense once you look back and you kind of put the pieces together. It's like building a puzzle that's upside down.
Exactly. And there's something here as well. So I'm going to give you the grand theme because it's playing in. And so as I sat down today, and typically I'm looking, and of course, yes, I looked right at the numbers. And so the numbers that jumped out are 27, 13, 19, and 1. And we'll discuss that in a minute. But right off the bat, they gave me the theme of the energy, and they said, renewal, ... on its own terms. And so it speaks to, and we talk about this over and over and over again, the way, not our way. And so this is renewal on its own terms, meaning higher power, higher force, it's renewal on its own terms. It's not how we want it. It's not how we think it should be. It's going to be the way it's meant to be. The host, and we're the guest. And we've spoken about that.
Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. So do you want to kick it off? Do you want to go straight into your...
Sure. Yeah, let's jump in with the current energies,
Yeah.
and because it's big. I mean, I sat down today and I was like, wow, okay. They're
I'm
talking
excited.
about, yeah, it's pretty wild. So let's just go through. I'm going to put my specs back on and let's just jump into it here. And so what they are talking about is, they said renewal on its own terms. And then they gave me 3 points before we get to the numbers and the hexagrams. And they said the first thing they said is, what is hidden or masqueraded is finally revealed. And this is talking about the month of May. This energy is building. And I looked up because masqueraded, it's a past tense. And it said to disguise oneself, to go about disguised, to take part in a masquerade, or to assume the appearance of something one is not. So immediately here, there is this, what is hidden or masqueraded is finally revealed. And we've been talking about this, Jaclyn, like we said this in last week's episode where the light was on you and then illuminating the fridge, and you were talking about whistleblowers and things of this nature. It's literally like this stripping, this blowing the lid off of anything that was hidden or masqueraded. It's over. It's coming to light. It's going to be revealed. And that has big implications. You know, it's like the grand reveal is the way it's coming to me. And so this month of May, the second thing they said is the month of May, heyday, boon time. And a boon time is like a helpful or beneficial time. A heyday is you're in the heyday. Well, just as the Lady Jaclyn and I were speaking about, that heyday, that boon time, can be perceived by people that were doing illicit things or hiding things or whatever, and it's coming to light as a negative. And yet, ultimately, in its purity and its divinity, it's positive. It's for us. It's beneficial. It's helpful. It's for us. And then the last thing they said was an awakening, in quotes, an awakening of epic and epoch, that's how it's pronounced in British English, epoch proportions. So it's both grand and big, and epoch in terms of a massive time frame. So when we've talked about this, right, Jaclyn, about like we've been in the Piscean era. It's 2,500 plus years. We're in the age of Aquarius, the Aquarian age. And so they're like an awakening of epic, grand proportion, and epoch time frame. So it gives me chills because it's don't care who you are, if it's a person, place, business, thing. The way it comes, hang on to your britches. Because it's meant to, and we'll see in the numbers, it's meant to nourish. It's meant to move us forward. It is meant to purify, cleanse, diminish, meaning diminish that which is not in our highest and best, and release it. And so in speaking about, and here's the beauty too, before I'm just going to finish off really quickly. So hexagram 27 is the main number today. It is the 27th, and it's the main one that kept popping out. And it is nourishing vision, and its action is to nurture. And so, and it's then the supporting one is 13, because the day and the month become a 13. And it's about fellowship, and we've had this before, this come together, you know, this coming to meet and encounter. And it had like a biblical, like coming to meet the maker. So you can see that it's tying in. And then 19 is what the month, day, and year become, which is about approach, advance. And they're telling us this is about moving us forward. And of course, the 19 becomes a 10, which becomes a 1. And 1 is the creative force. And what was so interesting about the hexagram 1 is it doesn't have a hidden influence. It has a supporting influence. And the supporting influence is itself, creative, the creative force. However, its underlining cause is receptive, yield, the divine mother, the receptive force, the divine feminine force. And so what was really amazing, Jaclyn, in this is the renewal is about using the raw power, the creative force, in a receptive manner, meaning follow, be led, the way. Not to take the creative force and run roughshod over people, which is what we've done for the past 2,500 plus years, this aggression. And so there's this beautiful story that's coming together, and I'm just going to give you this hexagram 27. There's a quote that goes with it. It's by Rumi. And it says, everyone sees the unseen in proportion to the clarity of the heart. And that depends upon how much one has polished it. Whoever has polished it more sees more. More unseen forms become manifest. And we're always talking, Jaclyn, you and I, about, are you exercising the soul? Are you exercising your soul source connection? And this is speaking to the fact that the one who polishes, the one who exercises the soul, their connection to their soul source connection, going by the way, sees more of the unseen, sees more of the magic, the awe, the miracles, and so forth. And that's just how it works. And when we don't, we don't. So I'm gonna let you jump in now, and let's bounce it around, and I'll come back to what it actually hexagram 27 is talking about.
That's so beautiful and so interesting how you mentioned 27, because it's actually been the placement in the sun. So it's the gate that's been in the placement of the sun for the last week. And so it's changing today. Tomorrow we step into new energy, obviously depending on time zones, into this new energy, or added on, like the next level, right? It's not ending off and starting new.
Right,
it's kind of just
the continuation of, right.
There we go. Thank you. And so it's so funny, because when you were talking about 27, I was like, oh, okay, great. He's explained it. So I don't need to explain what the energy was. That nurturing, that caring, right? And that kind of leads me into, it like sets me up for the energy that is coming, which is the 24 and the 44. Now the 24 is mental energy, right? It's that, James, you like to call it that cerebral, right? The 24 is about rationalizing. So check in with yourself over the next couple of days and see, where are you trying to problem solve by thinking about something continuously, because that's how you think that's the quickest way to get the answer, right? And what you're talking about is being receptive, and kind of being receptive to receiving insights. And
yes.
In order for you to really be receptive, you can't spend your energy, you can't clutter your space energetically with overthinking, or trying to over-rationalize, or trying to logically figure this out. This is a logical energy we're moving into, but with this comes this almost, and this is the thing where we started the show with, look beyond. Looking beyond your current circumstances of what you can see. And that's kind of what's really coming up for me, especially, is the reminder of, you can't see it all yet, because you're not supposed to see it all yet, right? You'll see it when you need to see it. You'll see what you need to see when you need to see what you need to see, right? It's not like a trick, or like a game that the universe is trying to play with you to, keep you from actually truly receiving what it is that you desire. Everything is working out for you. So again, it's like stepping into this energy of really looking at nurturing. Do you feel like you have what you need? Maybe there's a whole upheaval. I know with me, the universe, like I was joking in the last session that we had, where I was like, literally the universe has taken every area of my life and kind of just flipped it on its head. Like there's this massive shock that, I gate 51 in my son, shock. We've spoken about this. I've literally been living it the last 2 to 3 weeks intensely. I've been living it my entire life, But now I've really been shocked, but I also now know the understanding of what the shock truly means. It's like, if you're faced with any change or any adversity, seemingly challenging situations, it's actually for your benefit, because we now know that shock, if the universe is shocking you, like if something shocking happens in your current situation, it's because you're being redirected. You've been kind of positioned into maybe a new direction, but the new direction is actually potentially the direction that's going to get you to where you're designed to go quicker, right? So it is really kind of looking beyond your current situation, releasing, letting go, and also the letting go process is letting go of the old patterns, the old way of being. We've spoken about this, and it's been months and months and months of culmination, but it is part of an experience. It's not a destination, right? To constantly experience letting go of what no longer serves you. And that's potentially going to look like letting go of people in your life that aren't serving you, that aren't nurturing for you, right? Letting go of situations that you thought you need to hold on to because that was the way you identified with, like with life, or that's the way you drew your self-worth. It's letting go the old limiting beliefs, the traumas, the fears that are keeping you from truly being the highest expression of yourself, because everything that is happening to you is happening for you right now. And practically how to get through this is by checking in with yourself to see where you're not trusting the process, by over rationalizing, by overthinking what needs to happen versus allowing what is going to happen, whether you fight it against it or not. You know what I mean? It's ultimately going to happen anyway. So you might as well just take a step back and release. And this goes in all areas. I mean, we could break it down to business. We can break it down to relationships. We can break it down to career, purpose, like fulfillment, happiness, emotions, crisis. Like every area right now, if you're hitting a wall, it's asking yourself the question, are you truly in alignment with the way that you're designed to actually move through the situation? Because the situation is designed for you to transform, to grow, to step into confidence, to step into success and abundance. And it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, and it might look a lot uncomfortable, but in that uncomfort, or discomfort, that's where the wisdom lies. That's where the experience is. That's kind of like part of the contract that we signed, right?
And that's something, yes. And what's so beautiful is when you say in concert with the way you were designed, and immediately your human design is your soul. It's the essence of your soul. It's the way, how you're designed. It's like, yes, it's how we operate. It's the literal and practical and everything based on your soul. And we have a brilliant question, because there's two things here. The nourishing. What are you nourishing? And that is the overall energy of hexagram 27 is about what are you nourishing? And we'll come to that. We're going to read that. And then it's also because there's a big reveal coming. And then they're showing me like like if you took a Rolodex, the old paper Rolodex, and you went, and it's like a thing of cards going, or the money counters where it goes, that's the kind of moment, energy, reveal that's crescendoing coming in May. And hello, Haley. Hello, Lori. Maria is joining us, and she said, how do we exercise the soul? And she's from California, so welcome. Brilliant question. Because again, soul source connection, how you exercise the soul is literally tuning into your knowing, your intuition, your knowing. You can call it your gut. You can, whatever that soft knowing is. Because the mind, the ego, the mind, the personality, it's going to be loud. It'll chatter. We often have the terms monkey mind, this type of thing. So it's loud, and it can be aggressive or loud. And the soul is a knowing. It's soft. It just is. It's it's like, and so how do you exercise the soul? By tuning in and then going as guided. Because your mind and personality, your ego, mind, personality might say, no, I don't want to do that. Or no, that's going to be horrible. You're off to the races with all the chatter. And yet you'll have this knowing, well, I'm supposed to do X or I'm not supposed to do Y. And you exercise it by following that, by following the knowing, and keep doing. You can be doing a walk. Oh, it says go for a walk. Okay, I'm going to go for a walk. And we've talked about this, and they told me, okay, switch to the other side of the street. I switched. And we did this 7 times back and forth. And finally I got a little frustrated. The mind, the ego, the person gets frustrated. And I just stopped and I said, what's the point of this? I've done this 7 times. It's, and literally I heard, we're training you to listen. Enough said. That's exercising the soul. That's listening to your soul source connection. It's going as guided, and trusting it. Okay, it's purpose, it's purposeful. And you'll know the distinction. When am I in my mind, my head, and when am I in my soul, my knowing? Your soul is true north. It can never be anything but that. Ego, mind, personality, right, Jaclyn? Oh, it will beg, borrow, steal, barter, delay, procrastinate, negotiate. It's going to do all the above. Mm-hmm. But when you hear people say, I just know, that's your soul. And it's exercising that as your leadership, as the way to live your life. And the more you become, the more you exercise it, the more you do that, the more you trust it, the more you lean into it, the stronger it gets. And it was, as the quote said, it's polishing the heart. It's polishing that. And then the more unseen reveals itself because you're polishing it, you're exercising it.
That's so beautiful. That's exactly pretty much what I was going to say, which is the trusting, right? Practically taking every opportunity to cultivate self-trust, because self-trust is trusting in the divine, right? Because if you truly believe that you are like one with everything flows through you, right? The divine, the energy flows through you, within you. So the more you trust yourself, the more you are going to be able to be in alignment and kind of like co-create with your soul. I do want to mention, so Maria added an additional statement in the comments, and she said, I fear that if I let go, life will hit me and I won't be able to deal with it. And what's so, I want to say, powerful, because it's the understanding and knowing that fear will get the better of you if you allow it to, right? And having the awareness of what fear actually is. And it's interesting because we're moving into the energy of 44, which is grounded, which is the grounding, and the 44 is let me just get it right. It's in the 44 is in the splenic energy. There we go. Thank you. So it's in the splenic energy. So it's a fear gate, right? It's the fear of repeating the pattern. It's the fear of release, like not being in control. And what's so interesting is that's what that's a mind statement. So what Maria has said, like, I fear if I let go, life will hit me and I won't be able to deal with it. That's the mind trying to rationalize a current situation so that you can feel in control, so that you can feel okay. But the truth is that sometimes you're not going to know all of the answer. And it's that in that moment that's when you are given the opportunity and the experience to cultivate self-trust, in knowing that, actually, hold on, what do I know to be true? I know to be true that life is never going to hit me down and keep me down, because everything is happening for me, right? And not to me. So then it's kind of identifying, okay, what is coming up for me that are triggers that I can then work on, that looks practical, like practical practices in place to start reframing the belief that I have about life. And the way that I'm dealing with fears, like what systems, or do you have systems or practices in place that allow you to truly reframe old programmings, like mental patterns or ways of thinking that are no longer serving you? Are you able to really manage your emotions right now? Because part of fear, it's like a visceral response. You feel it in your body, right? And then you continuously tell yourself the story, that, everything is not working out, life's a struggle, and then you feel it more in your body. So it's like this dance between both realities, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay there. That's part of the experience. The experience is you got to have the experience to gain the wisdom so that you can then move through that to get to truly embody the transformation. So yeah, go for it.
No, I was just going to add in because again, it's interesting because Maria's question is the epitome of the juxtaposition and the battle, if you will, the battle between the soul and the self, the ego, the mind, the personality. And so in her question, this piece of, I fear that if I let go, life will hit me and I won't be able to deal with it, which means, because your soul, your soul is always moving. It's like if the needle is true north, soul is true north. Personality might have you way over here at 30 degrees or something. And so you fear going where you don't know. You fear letting life hit you. But today's overall energy is renewal on its own terms. Not our terms, soul source terms, period. End of story, have a nice day, mic drop, we're done. And the only thing that you're really truly fearing is yourself. That's the thing. It's like, because what you're saying is, I won't know who I am if I let life hit me. I won't know who I am if I let all of this fall apart. The beauty, Maria, and for everybody, this is applicable for everyone. The beauty is, yes, it's fear. Yes, it's gonna, it's a surrender moment, and it's the most empowering moment, because what's gonna happen? It's gonna nourish you in a way. Yes, you have to go through the process of it being stripped away. But what's revealed is something so much greater and better than that your mind controlling your environment and your actions and the people and the places and the things. Look how much energy that takes. Because you're controlling something that's masquerading. It's a masquerade. The minute you let it go, oh, there she is. There's the soul self person radiating, going, whew, back to true north. Here we are. And it will always, always, always be far more, better, amazing than what we would have done ourselves. It's just the truth of it. Does it come with discomfort? Yes, when we have to let something go, strip something away, or allow something, surrender something so as to be more. Yes. Straight up, the Lady Jaclyn and I are not, we don't sugarcoat it. Straight up. However, we also have the benefit of knowing by example, by personal expression, example. And yet, every single time it happens, it's far more, in hindsight, as we talk about it, it's far more than we would have ever given ourselves. So Maria, and for everybody listening, absolutely surrender your ego to the soul. Place your ego, personality, and so forth in service to your soul. That, and lead with that, because that is going to lead you to places you couldn't even imagined, in the most positive, beneficial, helpful way.
And she actually affirms that she had an aha moment. She's like, thank you both for your light. Beautiful. Thank you for the explanation. So that's exactly why we love doing what it is that we're doing. It's like holding space. So just to have an aha moment, we're so happy that you found that aha moment in that explanation.
And look, everyone listening, watching, joining us, look at the golden thread of the unseen that Maria shows up today, and her statement and question, everything is absolutely on point to the topic and everything that's being, it's not pre-planned, it's not, we didn't pre-plan it.
It is pre-planned, but not
right,
us.
There's the unseen working on your behalf. And this is so true, because we have all our, we have our LinkedIn listeners also joining us and everything. And so this is true for businesses, because businesses are people and governments and so forth. So we keep reiterating this, from the individual to the entrepreneur, to the executive, to the business, to the corporation, to the country, the government, and so forth. All of this applies. And it's renewal on its own terms. Not our terms, soul source terms.
Mm-hmm.
Epic.
Yep. Yeah, mic drop. There we go. Done. Thank you. I'm living it. like when you're talking, I'm like, yeah, were you a fly on the wall for the last like 2 weeks of my life? Like, what the actual? It's really beautiful, though, I must say, to be able to. This is what I love about this, having this access, like for me, I'm speaking for me now, having access to this modality to actually gain clarity and I want to say almost permission to know, oh, okay, now that makes sense. So it almost is my way of calming my mind down to kind of feed the mind in an empowering way, because the mind is always going to do what it knows best, right? Which is think, which is process, which is analyze, which is conceptualize, which is rationalize, which is absorb ideas and information. So you kind of want to not you don't want to disregard the mind. You don't want to think the mind's bad. The mind's not bad. The mind is really powerful and it's important, and we're gifted to have it. But it's like feeding the mind in an empowering way. And that's what's so beautiful, like each week to be able to have access to this information so that we know. Like I actually shared a meme not so long ago where one of the Disney princesses are like looking through her books, and it literally says like when something happens in my life, then I'm checking what's happening with the planets. Like that was kind of the meme. It was hilarious, but that's so true. It's kind of going, okay, hold on, what is happening? How can I understand what I need to understand and know that I'm not going to know everything, but it like calms my mind down so that it stays busy with something that's empowering, so that it allows me to go through. And you can see like I'm literally talking about my mind as almost like a second person or not the I, because you are not your mind, right? But ultimately your experiences and your behavior is sometimes dictated by your mind, because you're giving your mind power. So it's like having the awareness to know what your mind actually is, knowing how to deal with it and get the best from it while you're having this human experience.
And it allows you to, right, Jaclyn, so in what she just explained, it allows you to just calm and reset, knowing. So when you look for us, when we look at the numbers or the energy, or we simply listen to our soul, tune in and listen to your soul, and you take that moment, what it does is it says to you, it's okay. It's all okay. It may not be what you think or how fast you want it, or, some outcome or something. But when you suspend that, when you just stop that, release it for a moment and just listen and go, okay, where am I? You'll hear the answer. And it's not your mind. It's it's your soul. It's the knowing. Where am I? And you'll hear a word. You might see a color, but you'll know something that goes, okay, it's okay. Let it go. Let it go. Keep going. Keep going. And we always say, okay, then, and what's the next positive step that I can take that moves me in a positive forward way while we let life happen, or because life doesn't hit us. Now the universe can give 2x, you don't want to listen. Okay, here comes the cosmic 2x4. But that's generally after warning and flashing lights and all that good stuff. But it's always for our good. And that's what's so powerful about this. Let's add in Haley, because she drew 4 cards, 3 of which, one is the monkey, experience all that life has to offer. So, and this is so on point from one perspective, right, Jaclyn? Experience all that life has to offer. That's what your soul is attempting to do. It's what it's designed, it's what it's designed to do. It's designed to have us experience all that life has to offer. And then the ego and the mind and the personality and fear and experience and all this stuff goes till we're tied up and boxed in a corner and trying to control everything. And the soul is like, hello, experience everything life has to offer. That's what it's trying to do. That's what it's designed to do. The gray squirrel, find new ways of solving problems. In this one, it's very interesting because it is higher hand. The renewal's coming in, So the new way of solving problems, allow, because it's happening.
Receive. Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, camel, be forbearing and patient. Yes. Have the will, have the commitment to exercise your soul, to go as guided, to trust, even when it's hard. Keep trusting, be forbearing. And then she had a beautiful one that was for you. She said she split the pack and got your card, the Lady Jaclyn, butterfly. Be ready to transform with wisdom. And what do we call this? Weekly wisdom and insights.
Yeah.
I love
It's
this
so
group.
beautiful.
I love
Yep.
this. I love these Wednesdays.
You know what's so beautiful? It's like it's the message this week is simplistically powerful. Because when you
Yes.
said it's all gonna be okay, it's like that was the message. Like that's what we came here actually to say. Like someone needed to just hear, and I was probably speaking about myself as well, but it's literally like it's going to be okay. Like it's actually going to be more than okay. So okay is actually a lower vibrational word, but it's spoken with a high vibrational energy, right? So it's literally, it's going to be okay. Like everything is going to work out. And it was so interesting. The next thing I wanted to add was, while you're speaking as well, and you can see our energy as well. It's like this fun and this joyfulness and taking life not so serious. And I had a conversation yesterday. I personally, in the last 2 weeks, have been through very serious things in the personal front. And even though going through those serious things, there was still moments where it was so not so serious. Like there was joyful moments, there was humor, like you could laugh about it, but you were kind of like, should we even be laughing about this? Like, should we even be making jokes about it? But that's the beauty of the paradox of life. And when you're speaking about your soul wanting to experience it all, it's like allowing yourself to take a step back every now and then when you can feel the humor present itself and you want to make fun and you want to be like a kid and you want to, you know, laugh and you want to bring a bit of humor about it, because it's like that energy is that's actually also how you get through very serious challenging situations, is the universe is giving, it's like inserting a bit of humor so that you can lighten your energy. Because have you ever seen, like when you're around a kid that's laughing, like how light do you actually feel? How you know, how expansive, right? Do you feel in a child's presence when they're truly expressing joy? I mean, it's like you can't experience anything other than that true essence of that energy. And that's almost like one of the coping gifts that the universe is giving you, is to look for the humor, look for the joy, look for the playfulness, look for the less seriousness of any current situation that you're potentially going through. Because honestly, like in hindsight, it's actually not as serious as you think it is. Because if you can ask yourself this question, am I still going to remember this experience, or is the thing that I'm worried about still going to affect me in the next 10 years? Like, am I still, then it's kind of going, okay, hold on, like, let's put it in perspective. You know what I mean? Like, as to what actually, means something.
Well, and it's the beauty of laugh with life. It's not about laughing at life. Laugh with it, because when we find the humor, the levity, it means we're moving beyond the surface of something, the initial shock, the initial trauma, the initial, despair, fear. That's on the surface. Then we move into, okay, well, let's laugh with life. Let's find the levity in so as to see it with more clarity, greater depth, more expansiveness. So then we see things, and then we see it for, here it is. We're seeing it for what it truly is, as opposed to what it may be masquerading as opposed to something that was hidden. And that's powerful. It's empowering. And hexagram 27, Jaclyn, I just want to, because it's the main supporting energy today, I just want to not leave it out in the cold. It's It talks about thunderous change now moves within the mountain of keeping still. The hidden influences the receptive or a need to reflect on the type of inner vision we are nourishing. This is a time to consider what type of thoughts you nourish in order to understand why events unfold as they do. What are your motivations? What are you attracting to yourself? Because in essence, what we nourish within, and whether it's from exercise, nutrition, thoughts, emotions, is what we experience externally. And so hexagram 27 is all about what are we nourishing? And it's such a powerful, there's another quote down here that says the master, I just want to get to it really fast and we'll jump back into it. The master said, what the people determine as great, they nourish. The energy of thought becomes manifestation simply in how you interpret events. Many people can witness the same event, but each will project a different experience. To know what is important to the person, one must only observe what they actively cultivate. Although you come to give life labels, the way passes through the mouth without flavor. If you are participating in your growth, you will see the way as being good. If you are not, you will call it bad, and yet it remains without distinction. So this is where the Lady Jaclyn and I are always talking about how everything is divine and neutral. It's only our perception, our judgment, our like, our dislike, our fear, blah, 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 blah. It's all of that that colors it good or bad. Yeah. And thereby, so what are we nourishing? Simply nourish, if it's all divine and neutral, then some might say, well, then what's the point? Or, and yet what we nourish, we manifest, we create, we experience. So personally, I'm looking at it and saying, well, I'd rather experience positivity, joy, laughter, humor, goodness, kindness, these types of things. Good, bad, or indifferent, good, bad, or indifferent, they're divine and neutral, right? Versus hardship, fear, anger, resentment, blah, blah. They're all experiences. And as divine beings of choice, of free will, the point and the purpose is, which one do you care to experience?
It's like, I think it's a story of the two wolves. Which wolf are you feeding, right?
Which wolf are you feeding? So, exactly. Which one wins? The one you feed.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, yes.
The one you feed, right?
Right.
That's powerful. So my biggest takeaway as we pretty much close off the show is, what are you nourishing? It's all going to be okay. And what was get out of your own way by actually, I almost want to say, not stop thinking, but think about things that actually matter. You know what I mean? Like redirect your mind into more of a positive direction, or like rabbit hole, than a disempowering one. So those are the three, and they're really big takeaways. And this is why I said it's like the message this week, the wisdom that really came through was simplistically powerful.
Yes, and it's motivating because it's really moving us. I mean, here we are in the last week of April, and we're moving into this May heyday, as they call it, this grand reveal, this epic proportion type thing, all positive. It's like the crescendoing of this wave, and you're at the top of the wave. And then as the waves come in, of course, upon the beach, it all disperses, right? There's that beautiful, and I love this analogy from them because, some of the greatest surfers, and, being a California boy and all of this, I always like, I want to go surf and everything, wanted the long hair, and, you see how that worked out. And what's so funny is there's a beauty and an art to being one with the ocean, the wave, Mother Nature, the power, the force. Right? And you can see them crest and ride that wave in and down. And you can also be on the receiving end of how it can just wham, and it just pummels you. And one time I had that at the beach, the wave came in. literally rolled me up with my swim trunks down around my ankles and scrapes and, berry scrapes everywhere. This is what we're talking about. It's which experience choose to ride the wave and so forth. And Maria asked where I was reading from. I want to give a shout out to Cafe Au Sol in the hexagrams. I typically get them from cafeausol.com. She's amazing. It's a beautiful website about the hexagrams and so forth. So I use it as a reference for looking at the current energies and listening to what the energies are and how they're applying to us and everything. So an amazing it's an amazing week, Jaclyn. And week it's too finite. It's an awakening of epic proportions. Here we go.
What an amazing moment. I'm super excited to kind of see what's going to happen next week as we start May, because next week when we see each other again, it will be May.
Absolutely.
It will be the new month. Yes. It will be stepping into this new energy, or the energy of May, which is so powerful and beautiful. And do you have any last thoughts?
Just everyone go as guided. Listen, exercise your soul, go as guided. I believe the camel, be forbearing and patient, and yet be ready. I mean, as Jaclyn said, the joy of hearing little kids laugh is transcendent. It really just transcends you. And the month of May coming up is going to be renewal on its own terms and an awakening of epic proportions. And just ride the wave, flow with it, ride the wave, make no judgments, just ride the wave and see where it delivers you, see where you land.
That's beautiful.
Gives me tears.
Beautiful. And as always, guys, if you do feel inspired and called, myself and Dear James have a 50-50 offer, which is one-to-one sessions with each of us. So if you're really wanting a little bit of deeper insights and clarity to what May holds or has in store for you, and how to actually navigate any situation that you're currently dealing with, whether it be in life or business, then get in touch with us. If you want to connect with us, all of the links are in the description box or the show notes, depending on where you're tuning in from. And as always, if you have any questions and you want to reach out to us, please feel free to do so. We are here to help, guide, and support you through this life so that you can truly step into your highest expression of yourself and your ultimate purpose.
Absolutely. And please join our private Facebook group, where we're going to go in and do lots of little surprise one-on-ones and group things and just show up and answer questions. And also, if you're moved to, please like, share, follow, subscribe, all of that, because it helps grow the group and the initiative and everything of just empowerment. That's what we come together. The Lady Jaclyn and I come together each week for empowerment. It's growth and transcendence and empowerment. So we love you all. Thank you so much. We are back tomorrow with Science and the Soul, episode 9, where we're going to kind of really tag on with some of this playing. So thank you all for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow and then next week for Weekly Wisdom and Insights.
Yes. Thank you, guys.